putting together our seedlings. So we have quite a few plants that we are getting ready for our inside green stock. We have some plants that are annuals that will not make it through the winter outside. Well, I wouldn't say will not. May not make it through the winter outside. That takes some time, which is our sorrel. So we have that there. And then we have some seedlings that we're going to start to put in our indoor green stock. That's what we're going to be working on today. I'm Angeline, and today the team is not available. They may come and visit. So today it should be just me for now, Angeline. And for more information, go to avgardening.com. And don't forget to join the cultivators at patreon.com/Angeline Verdon. Today is a good day to garden, and let's get started. So we have our seed trays here, which I'm going to be adding seeds to. But before we do that, today's all about seeds. We have our plants that we put in the garden earlier that I'm going to water them today. So I'm looking at them. I thought I did 2 mustards and stevia. I can't remember. But every time I say my memory is going to be great and I'm going to remember. But we'll see what grows out here. This should be 2 mustards next to each other, some onions, and a stevia plant, which we are propagating here. So we just use this way as a way to propagate. No new roots have grown in, but it is staying up and alive. So we'll see how that goes. How we water our plants in the nursery is pretty simple. We pour the water in here and let it fill up to the line. So we pour it up 1/3 full. So it fills up 1/3 full. And then after 5 minutes, we empty out the water. So that's how we water our seedlings so they don't get overwatered. So I'm starting with this. So we'll have them watering in the corner here as our day goes along. Now we have our seed starting trays. So this is 2 of them. I just washed them out. They were outside. So I wanted to give them a good rinse out, make sure nothing was living in them. I mean, well, they didn't have any soil in them. It was just dust. So we're going to be planting our seeds in here. We have a mixture. So we have, one is going to be our sorrel seeds. I'm not waiting for them to dry out. We're giving our sorrel seeds in while they're still moist. Hopefully that should increase its rate of coming back and growing. I lost the word for a second there, for more than a second, because I still didn't get it yet. But we're going to have them, our seedlings, grow in here. So we are hoping that planting them before they dry out increases their rate, because they do take a while to germinate. That's what I was looking for. So we want to increase our germination rate. So we're going to plant them before they're too dry. And then in this one, I'm going to be planting, I should start telling you guys about it while I fill it up with the soil. In this one, we're going to be planting this one is sorrel, and this one's going to be peppers. So we have our green stock that is inside. So we're going to be planting some plants in our indoor green stock. So this one I'm going to be mixing, have a mixture of soil. We have our potting soil seed starter, and then the soil that is going to be in as it grows up that we're also putting in here. So I'm just going to put that in here. Inside, I'm going to be doing some peppers, but instead of the little peppers that we currently do, the baby peppers that are currently growing, I'm going to go for some larger peppers. I like when 1 pepper, whole salad, not 1 pepper and some of the salad. It's a very light mix. This is very light and fluffy. I love that about this seeding mix. So it helps the seeds just get around much more easier. It's a very light and thin mix. Whoops, there we go. But I like to mix it with whatever the plant's actually going to be living in. So as you transplant it to that set of soil, there's no shock. So the peppers usually are small. The ones we have growing inside are very small. Since we have the green stock that we're growing in, we can house much larger plants. So I'm going to we do have some shelves which are leaf shelves. And then we have other shelves which are original. So the leaf ones, we're putting our lettuce in. But the original, we're going to be putting these large, huge peppers to grow. A binder, which I keep the seeds in. This is something that I just got. It's red Marconi sweet peppers. So they grow extremely large, about a foot in size, the peppers themselves. So I'm looking to have some much larger peppers. So one meal, one cooking, one pepper, a whole meal, instead of like trying to harvest 10 peppers for the meal. We want one pepper, one meal. All right, so these are the seeds here. I'm not soaking them or anything. We are gonna put them because I don't know germination rate here. Of course, it would be nice if it's 100%. I'm just gonna put 2. This soil is so light, I know it's gonna sink. That's 3 there. If we have to spread it out, it's fine because we do have, as I mentioned before, 2 green stalks, which besides lettuce, I haven't thought of what I'm planting in them. And these giant peppers will be great. So if you don't have this, you can use a pen. Sometimes the seeds come with it. Just kind of poke a little hole. It also measures how deep they can go. If I do this, sometimes my fingernails, the seeds get into the nail and then it's not planted in there. Then I wash my hand and it's gone. So we don't want that. So we're just gonna put it in there. And once again, like usual, we're not labeling because our memories are the best. We have impeccable memories. So when we see them, we'll know, we'll go, okay, these are peppers. And if all fails, we can always play back that beautiful bean footage from a commercial way back when. All right, so we got it worked in. And again, we're going to use the method that we use for our garden, which is pour the water in here. I'm also going to be reusing that water over there. So about a third. And you let it soak up. Let those seeds absorb the water from the bottom. Once it's finished, 5 minutes later, we'll take it out. So we're going to put this one to soak. And the next, when we finish with this one, we're going to pour the water from there in here. So we're going to move on to our next one. Also wanted to put a little bit of soil on top of some of those plants. Now, as you will see, the soil itself will get shorter. Will start to shrink. So we don't want that. Okay, I mean, and that's fine. So now we have our sorrel. So we have our sorrel seed pods. These seeds are fresh. So we're hoping that, like when we do our tomatoes, they haven't dried out at all. We are going to dry some seeds, but we're hoping that these, which are fresh, will germinate better. So we will see. It takes extremely long to germinate. Last time I probably mentioned this, it was germinating for many months. Let me see how long. February to about April. So it germinated for took very long to germinate. But those seeds were dry. And I've heard a lot of people talk about how long this plant takes to germinate. So we are going to keep the plant going all winter long. Now, it is a perennial in some areas. However, in my area, I believe it is not. It doesn't say it is. I didn't think it would be. I am planting them in here for a new plant to grow next year. But I'm also going to be putting the pots inside of our sunroom to see if we can get a comeback for the next year. So these are the centers. If you watch the video where we were peeling them, you'll see where the seed pods are. A whole video on how we get these seed pods out, along with the part that you drink, how we separate them. That video, you go to our page, you'll see it there. We're going to conserve some water here and take the water from our garden. Get it in there. I'm trying not to touch it with the fingers that have soil on them. We're going to pour it in. And then we're going to let this one soak for 5 minutes. Soil's getting moist and they are still on the outside. I'm just going to pour some soil on top of that. So I'm putting them in very shallow. extremely shallow because this is a very small seedling tray. We don't want them to go all the way in and then come out. It's easier to just move them up to a cup size than try to worry about them falling out the bottom, because we don't want them to fall out the bottom. So we got our soil in here. It's really absorbing this water. It looks like it's going to absorb all the water in there. All right, this one has a good amount of water. It's absorbing slowly. You can see it going up slowly. So it has a good amount of water in there, 1/3. So it's absorbing it up. And then we have this one. Also, looks like it needs a little more water. It absorbed and then it got to the bottom of the tray. So let's get some more water in there. Because I could see where it's not reaching it. There we go. It wasn't reaching to absorb any more water. This, to help us remember, the peppers are going to go under the pepper. So we have our bottom shelf here. We're going to let our seedlings grow here. Now, it's not that cold yet, so we're just going to put them underneath here. And then we're going to have them, if it is cold, we have a heating mat that we can lay there. But for now, I don't think we need it. It is warm enough every day that we do not need a heating mat. Then we're going to put our heating mat. But if this room does get too cold, we'll put a heating mat underneath. So we have our peppers and we have our sorrel under there. We also have what seems to be a spider under here. Let me get the duster first. But that's where we're going to have it get a little bit light. Let me go get a duster. When the peppers grow, we have our larger our larger original ones. So we're going to put them in those pink ones, and then the purple ones are the leaf sides where our salads are going to go. And then we have some supports for those peppers because they are very huge. We're going to be using the same lighting that we have here, as well as these lights. I'm going to change the bulbs to plant lights. Okay, so let's drain out the water from this and take a look at our soil. So as you can see, our soil has gone down a little bit, and you can see on the side that it is moist. Let me put the light on because there's a lot of backlighting, which is why you usually don't film in this room, and even with the light on, it's still very backlit. So we have, so you guys get, there we go, better view. So as you can see, the water is absorbing from the bottom to moisturize our seeds that we put in here. And we're gonna, it seems like enough water. It has gone through it and absorbed through. We're gonna cover it with our cover. I'm just gonna take the extra water and pour it into some of these plants. I'm gonna pour it into that tray. Just lift it up here. Of course, we got a lot of dripping. I'm gonna let it drip there and pour it into our little plate here. Our tray here. Has some of the nutrients. Of course, you don't want it to leak down into there. And the water from the has absorbed into the soil. So you can see here. Then we cover it. And there we go. And then this one, I let it bottom water to how much it feels like drinking, and then the rest will stay in the tray, which is what I love about bottom watering. As you can see, this one, we just put water in here. It's empty already. So that plant was pretty thirsty. So we're gonna put some more in. But because I don't want it leaking, I'm just gonna hold it over this one. So it's not just leaking anywhere. Pour the water in. put it back in here and then let our cover steaming up. All right, so there are our plants. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube Shorts. That's where we do updates, lots of photos and updates of how our plants are doing. This is where our plants are staying. It is well lit. This light stays on 12 hours, I think. A little more than 12 hours a day. It's 6 to, I can't remember the time period this light stays on. It comes up at 8. It says, yes, about 12 hours. A little more than 12 hours. And then it comes on at 6. It's 14 hours. Between 14 and 16 hours is going to be getting light. It's at the bottom, so it gets the least amount of light, as opposed to these, which have the longer ones, and this which has the most amount of light. Eventually, as our lettuce grows, because lettuce does not need as much light, we will be moving this to one of our less lit areas, as you can see here. But anyways, thank you very much for joining as we dealt with our seedlings and planted them. Keep updated and follow us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, join the cultivators at avgardening.com and follow us at patreon.com/AngelinaVerdon. Thanks, and I will talk to you guys next time. And goodbye for now.